Welcome back to the new edition of this channel. In one of the previous edition, I made a video on 5 models of basketball first quarter over point. Despite the fact that this strategy can get us easy big odds like 1.5 odds up to 1.90 plus odds, there are some dangers and disadvantages to it actually as the result of limited access to information, and that's why some bookies always generally bookies always beat us sometimes. In this video I will teach you guys the extremely simple 5 models of basketball straight winning. Don't forget we discussed about the first quarter over point, even though I made a comprehensive video on this particular strategy, but some people are still coming back and coming to my DM telling me that they still want more private tutorial on it. Actually, please, this particular basketball straight winning 5 model, I want you guys to pay a very good close attention to it so that you won't come again for any private tutorial. So I'm going to give you guys the 5 model, and I'm going to explain to you in a way that you guys will understand. What I just need from you guys is that I want you to pay a very good close attention to details in this particular video. So this is basketball first quarter over point, and it is easy to get big odds with this particular strategy, and sometimes it is easy to lose your money on this particular strategy because sometimes there are some teams that they will decide to start very strong, and there are some that they will start very slow. All right, so no problem. First, I would like to give you guys the outline of this particular basketball straight winning model, the 5 model, before moving on to the practical aspect, because this particular video will be like a full course on this particular strategy, and you will understand the stress in analysis of basketball games, most especially when you are dealing with numbers mostly, and at least maybe you want to do a deep analysis on your games. All right, so if probably you won't be able to watch this particular video from the beginning to the end, so I'll just give you the outline, and probably maybe you can do the practical aspect by yourself. All right, so before moving on to the practical aspect, let me just quickly give you guys the outline of this particular strategy. So the data window of this particular strategy is only around the last 10 games of these particular two teams, and the first model is that I always call it the win frequency, frequency model. So in this particular model, what you need to check is that how often each team win their last 10 games. In the last 10 games, you just need to check the head to head, check the last 10 games, and what you need to look into there is that the rule of this particular model is that the favorite team to win must have at least in their last 10 games 6 or more wins, and the underdog must have 4 or below, at least below 4 wins in their last 10 games. So if you want to if you want to you want to get your favorite team to win, you can actually do that by looking into the odd allocated by the bookmakers, and for example, in this particular game, it is clear that the favorite team to actually win based on the odds is the away team, which happens to be New York Knicks. So the favorite team must have at least 6 wins, and the opponent, which happens to be the underdog, must have less than 4 wins, because teams with stronger form, they have high winning probability. So that is just all for the model 1. It is very simple. Now for model 2, that is the home or away strength model. So this time around, you are going to look into the location, because what you need to check here is the location performance. If the favorite team is playing away, you need to check the last 10 away games. If the favorite team is playing at home, you need to check the last 10 home games. But right now, the favorite team in this particular game, they are currently playing away, and we need to check the last 10 away games. And if at least they are able to win at least 5 or more games while playing away, then we are good to go. And for the underdog must not have more than 3. Are you getting it? They must have 3 or less wins in their last home games. This particular Charlotte Hornets, so they must have less than 3 wins in their last 10 home games. And that's all for model 2, because location really matters when it comes to basketball games. Now model 3, the point difference power model. That is what I call this particular model 3, because here this is where you are going to check the point difference. So how will you now calculate the point difference of each teams? What you just need to do is that you need to get the point scored in the last 10 games for each team, and the point conceded in the last 10 games for each team. So let's say you want to do the point score for in the last 10 games for home team, then what you just need to do is that you need to check the last 10 games of the home team. So you subtract the point conceded and point scored, and for the underdog, and because our current underdog for this particular match is the home team, and the underdog must not have more than 10 positive points after subtracting their point scored and point conceded. What you should be getting should be maybe negative, like minus maybe -5, -10, -20, or +10. It must not exceed +10. And for the favorite team to win, which happens to be New York for this particular game, they must have at least +40. And if not, because in this aspect, this particular model 3, most of these particular games that we do analyze, most of them they don't meet up with this particular model. But I'm going to explain to you how you are going to make your final decision regarding to this particular 5 models of basketball. So I'm still going to do the practical for this particular strategy. It is very easy, but it can take time if you are just starting. So the favorite team to actually win, after doing the point scored and point considered subtraction stuff like that, they must have at least 40, if not 40, 30. So when you get the point difference of the home team and the away team, what you just need to do next is that you need to subtract the underdog point from the favorite team to win point, and at least you must be able to get like tens figures, in the sense that you must be able to get maybe +20, +30, or +40. But at most, at least you must be able to get +30. But it depends on how safe you want your games to be. Now when we are talking about the point difference power model, because the big positive margin after getting the point difference and you subtract it from each team, the big positive margin of this particular model, it shows that the strong it gives us a strong winning indicator. Like, it shows that okay, this particular team, favorite team, is actually strong. But we are still going to make a final decision regarding to this particular 5 model. So this is just the model 3, and regarding to model 4 and 5, most of the games that you'll be analyzing we actually meet up with this particular model 4 and 5. And model 4 is actually the offensive efficiency. So for model 5, what you just need to check is that how strong the team attack. Like, the favorite team must have higher points scored than the underdog. So that one is a straightforward thing. And for model 5, that's the defensive strength. And what you just need to check is that how well the team defend. The favorite team must concede less than the average point of the underdog. Let's assume that the underdog scores the average point in the last 10 games of the home team here that we have here is maybe 108. So the favorite team, the point considered by the favorite team must be less than 108. If not, this particular model will fail. Now this is your final decision regarding to this particular strategy. Out of these particular 5 models that I've mentioned, which I mentioned the win frequency model, I mentioned the home or away strength model, that's number 2. I mentioned the point difference model, and I mentioned offensive efficiency model, that is model 4. I mentioned defensive strength, and that is model 5. So for people that won't be able to watch this particular video from the beginning to the end, this happens to be the outline of this particular model. So you can do the practical aspect on your own. And now moving on to the practical aspect, and regarding to the final decision making of this particular model, at least 3 out of this particular 5 model must be accurate. Like, your analysis must be able to meet up with this particular with 3 out of this 5 model. That is a normal pick. But if you are able to get 4/5, if your analysis meet up with 4/5 of these particular 5 models, that is a very strong pick. Just know that jackpot, unless what used to happen in sport betting happens, because sometimes even though when your analysis, your strategy meet up with everything, something will just happen that you won't be aware of. And that's why I say that bookies are, most times they are always ahead of us with information and so many things that we don't know. So we are only working with numbers, and let's pray it will work out so well for us. So the next aspect down is the practical aspect. So if you are going to watch this particular practical aspect, just please make sure that you pay a very good close attention to detail. So I'm making use of this particular game because I can see that the odd that the bookmakers are currently allocating to it is very clear, and we can see the difference in the odds, and that the odds itself is like a probabilities of winning. So the bookies are trying to tell us that okay, the away team happens to be the favorite team, and sometimes the bookies do deceive with odds. So let us just confirm if they are right or wrong. So I'm going to check this particular game, and I'm going to start with the first model, which I called the win frequency model. So I said what you need to check here is how often each team wins in the last 10 games, and I said that the favorite team must win 6 or more in the last 10 games, and the underdog must win less than 4. So let us check the head to head. So I will try to make this thing very fast. So sorry, this is the team I want to. Okay, we still have we have a clear games. Let me use Miami. So Miami happens to be the favorite team to win according to the bookmakers in this particular game. They are giving the home team 1.39 odd. So let's check. So Miami last 10 games. Miami last 10 games. So we can actually see that out of the last 10 games that Miami played, they lost just 2 games, and that is a 80% of wins in the last 10 games. Now, for the underdog, what can actually spoil this particular model one is that the underdog must not score more than 4. Now, let's check the last 10 games of the underdog, which happens to be Milwaukee Bucks. Let's check their last 10 games. We can see that the last 10 games Milwaukee only won just 3 games, and automatically model 1 is you can see how fast model 1 is very fast. So the analysis of this particular match meet up with the first model, which I call the win frequency model. So we got one. So now for model 2, let's check if the analysis will meet up with our model 2. So here we are going to check the home and away. Currently the favorite team to actually win this particular game, they are playing at home. So what I will just do is that I will check the last 10 games of the, sorry, let me just start with the home team, Miami. So I will check the last 10 games of the home team, Miami home team, home games, last 10 home games. So last 10, I think I'm limited to access. At least let me just look for 5 winnings in the last 10 games. I'm unable to access last 10 games, home games. Alright, so automatically we already have it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and okay. For model 2, this is I'm able to access last 9 home games, and out of the last 9 home games for the favorite team to win, we already have 5 winnings. So let us check the away team. Away team must not have more than 3 in their last 10 away games. Last 10 away games. I can only access 8 out of the last away games. So we have 3, and let us just assume that this happens to be the only 3 games that we have, and let's assume that model 2 also meets up with the analysis of this particular game, and actually we should be able to access the last 10 games, but currently what I'm having here is the last 8 away games. So this can be a problem or limitation regarding to analysis of this particular model. So try to, if there's a way you can get the complete last 10 away games, it will be very good for us, but let us just overlook this one for now, so that we'll be able to complete this particular analysis on time. So Now let's say that this particular analysis meet up with model 2, which happens to be the home or away strength model. Now moving on to model 3, that is the point difference power model. So this particular model, it will take time because we are going to check the points scored from for the home team, points scored and points considered for the home team. So probably I will skip that particular part of documentation, and I'm going to jump into the final calculation of the model 3. So you guys can actually confirm if I'm wrong or I'm right. So alright, so what you just need now is that after documenting the points scored and points considered of each teams in the last 10 games, this particular data that you've recorded will actually help in doing the analysis of the model 4 and model 5. So I've already documented the points scored of the home team, which happens to be Miami and the Milwaukee Bucks, points scored and points considered. So I'm going to show you guys how you are going to do the average, how to get your average points scored, points considered for each team. All right, now so let me just start with the points scored of the home team, which happens to be Miami. So I'm going to add all their points scored in the last 10 games. I'm going to add everything together, and after adding everything together, I'm going to divide it by 10 because we are checking the data of the last 10 games. So we divide by 10, and the average points scored by the home team, which happens to be Miami, happens to be 125.1. Now we are going to check the average point conceded by the home team, which happens to be Miami. So let's start. All right, so the average points considered by the home team happens to be 118.2. Now don't forget, what we are after with this particular point difference is the margin between the home team and the away team. Are you getting it? Now let us check for the away team, which happens to be the Milwaukee Bucks. So we are going to check the average points scored for the away team and the average points considered. Alright, so the average point scored by the away team happens to be 113.8. Now let me check the average point considered by the away team. Alright, so the average point considered by the away team happens to be 119.5. Now don't forget what I told you guys regarding to the model 3 that we are currently doing, which happens to be point difference. We say that we are going to subtract the point scored from the point considered. So if we are to subtract the point scored and point considered for the home team, which happens to Miami, we said the point scored for the home team happens to be 125.1 minus 118, which happens to be their average points considered in the last 10 games, and we are currently getting plus 6. Sorry, let me do the calculation. Okay, we are getting plus 6.9 for the point difference for the home team, and for the away team the average point scored by the away team happens to be 113.8 minus average points conceded. We are getting minus 5.7. Now another thing that we need to do now is that if we are able to get like 10's margin, maybe plus 10, plus 20, or plus 30, depends on how safe you want your games to be. All right, now so with the current point margin that we have after getting our point difference, subtracting points scored from points considered. For the home team it happens to be 6.9, and for the away team it happens to be minus 5.7, and which shows that there is at least a difference of 12 points or over 11 points between these particular two teams. And I said earlier that it depends on how safe you want your games to be. You can decide that okay, you want your own to be more than 20 difference between the favorite team to win and the underdog, but let's assume that we are going for tens, like maybe 10, anything that is above 10. Now we say that okay, this model 3 actually work out so well. And don't forget, for model 4 we said offensive efficiency model, where you are going to check how strong the teams attack. We say that the average points scored for the home team, which happens to be Miami, is 125.1, which is higher than the average points scored by the away team, which is 113.8. So we got the model 4 right. And for model 5, defensive strength, and in this particular section we say that we need to check how well the teams defend, because our favorite team must concede less than the average point of the underdog. So the thing is like in two ways. The underdog average point scored must not be more than the average point scored by the favorite team to win. And secondly, the average point considered by the favorite team to win must not be more than the average point scored by the away team. Currently, the average point considered by the home team, which happens to be the favorite team, Miami Heat, is at 118.2, which is higher than the average point scored by the Milwaukee Bucks, which happens to be 113.8. So this particular model 5 actually failed in my own analysis. So far we are able to get just 4 models that meet up with this particular analysis of this particular game, and to me I believe this is a strong pick for a straight winning for this particular game, Miami against Milwaukee Bucks. I have experienced different situations whereby the most favorite team sometimes they lost their games to the underdog. And what is the most common thing about this particular game of basketball, most especially NBA, is that when you have a game like this, accurate game like this, when you have accurate game like this, maybe after doing your analysis and at least 4 out of the 5 models made up with your analysis, sometimes what we do experience is that this is basketball games. In basketball, just 1 point can make you lost your games. So look at this particular game very well. This particular game, you guys can see, I think the away team, they were leading up to like the last minute, like maybe I think the game remained just 50 seconds or 40 seconds, and they were leading by just 1 point difference, and they missed the 2 free throws that they had. That's like a penalty, so they missed it, and they went on a timeout. And after coming back, this particular home team, which happens to be the underdog of this particular game, they just come back and score 2 points, and the game end up like that. And that's what happens. So that's why most times I always go for, after getting my accurate predictions, doing the analysis and getting the accurate games for straight winning, I love how the bookmakers usually allocate odds for the NBA. They will provide you the money spread options, a wide range of money spread options, that is handicap. So they will provide you with these particular options, and you'll be able to at least give the favorite team, even the favorite, despite that it is the favorite team to win, they will still give you the opportunity to give them, to add points to them. And most times I always add maybe plus 5, plus 3, sometimes plus 10, plus 13, because I've experienced different situations whereby the favorite team to win, teams that have been having 100% form, 100% winning rate, against the underdog that in their last 10 games maybe they probably won just one games. I've seen games like that that the favorite team to win still lost to that particular team, but the point difference will not be too much. It may be maybe around 5 point difference in that particular game. So things like that happens very well in football, basketball. So you just need to be very careful with that, and you need to bet responsibly. And if you have any question regarding to this particular strategy, please kindly make sure that you drop it in the comment section. And if you are just joining us for the first time on this particular YouTube channel, make sure that you subscribe. And in case you want to join any of our group, we have our private circle group, and we also have our Telegram platform. You are going to access the group links in the comment section and also in the video description. See you guys in the next video. Bye bye.